Hi there. Welcome, Marc.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you,
You
Dax.
too. Yep.
Hi, Monica.
Nice to meet you, Monica.
Nice to meet you.
Where do you live, Marc?
I live in two places. I live in New York City,
Okay.
and then I live in the countryside of Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of merch, you have a nice sweater on.
Yeah, you do have a nice sweater on. There's a lot of fun colors around the collar.
I know, I'm a little I actually was like, wait a minute here. I'm a little matchy with my socks and my thing.
It's
cute.
nice. And Monica's the perfect person to observe this because she's a fashionista.
Oh, okay.
I do like fashion, and so the collar. Look, the collar's kind of mad.
They kind of
I worked hard to get this collar made. They did not want to do it.
Yeah, you're very stylish. You have beautiful Adidas. And these Adidas are of the current trend. I've noticed the cooler people at my kids' school are wearing
Where do they go to
those.
school?
This charter down the street.
Okay.
Why
Because
do you
I
ask?
work with, thousands of schools.
Your curriculum is at this school, the SEL curriculum?
It is.
It is.
Oh, that's amazing.
Probably rare that you would be interviewed by someone whose child is the product of
Yes.
your brainchild.
Only two people. Chrissy Teigen.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, but let's start at the beginning, which would be New Jersey. My first question is, how does one determine whether they're going to spell Marc with a C or a K?
I mean, my hunch is that it's a Jewish thing, actually.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I grew up Jewish, and I think Mark in the Bible is with a K. I don't know, something like that.
Okay. And your dad was
My
an
dad is not
HVAC
Jewish.
He's not Jewish.
No, he converted.
Was he a charismatic man?
I wouldn't say charismatic.
Okay.
I don't know what I would say.
Depends what day it
Both my
is,
still
probably.
alive?
No, both my parents have died, so it's easy for me to write about them and talk about
Exactly.
Yeah. I have that luxury, too, with
Yeah.
my father.
them. A good guy, but not, charismatic. I wouldn't describe him. as.
Okay, just salesman. That's
Well,
generally...
he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was a repairman.
Oh, he was a repairman.
Yeah.
And tell me about your mom.
She also was a character.
Uh-huh.
She grew up in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather owned a liquor store.
Okay.
I think he was a crooked liquor store owner.
Oh, wow.
One of his clients was Jake LaMotta, I remember.
Oh, the boxer.
Yeah. From my mother's gathering, he would pour out half the bottle and put water in it because he was so drunk that he could sell him half the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, my uncle was
sure.
not known for his scruples.
But was she tough if you're from the Bronx and dad owns a
No.
liquor store?
She was neurotic.
She was neurotic.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did that manifest?
I think she was more overly attentive to what wasn't happening for her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I'm a psychologist.
Research is me-search.
yeah,
as we
we're often
learn.
trying to get some answers that eluded us in our childhood.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, HP, for supporting this episode. Parents, you've got enough on your back-to-school list right now. Ink cartridges do not need to be on it. They just don't. The HP Smart Tank printer uses a refillable ink tank and comes with up to 3 years of ink included. It's the last printer you'll ever need. To learn more, search HP Smart Tank.
Tell me about childhood.
I grew up in northern New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Two parents.
Does that mean it's close to Manhattan?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
25 minutes outside the Lincoln Tunnel.
Okay, great.
Little town called Clifton. Next to a more poshy town called Montclair,
Okay.
which people have heard of.
I've heard of that.
That's where Bobby Brown's restored that amazing hotel.
Yeah.
I believe, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't go back too often. So, yeah, two parents, mom, dad, two brothers. They're technically half brothers. My first book, which is called Permission to Feel, I go into a lot of detail about that, which is that from the age 5 to 10, abused by my parents' best friend.
Which was a neighbor?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Also a Cub Scout?
He was a worker at the boys' club
Okay.
where I would go after school and
Yeah.
yeah. But that lasted, unfortunately, for 5 years.
Yeah, that's an eternity.
That's double your life.
Yeah,
That's
half
the same
your
amount
life.
of time. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
I was
same
going to say, wait a
amount of
minute.
time. Sorry, I'm really not good at math, but
Yeah, at 10, you had already spent half of your
Yeah.
life in this situation.
In this dark
Yeah.
secret,
yeah.
because
Yes.
I never disclosed it.
Can you remember the motivators of not disclosing? Was it that you were the threats had been made that someone would get hurt, or just your shame of being involved in some sense of responsibility for it all?
I think it's a all the above kind of thing. I
Yeah.
think, I joke now, after 20 years of therapy and a PhD in psychology, that my father was that, he also was from the Bronx originally, from Manhattan actually, but, when the tough side of Manhattan. My father would say things like, when I was a teenager, to give you a clue into his charisma, like, son, I used to beat kids up like you.
Sure, this is so comforting.
Yeah. Okay, Dad. We could talk about that in your parenting class.
Yeah, he really wanted you to be alpha macho.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about his childhood. My hunch is that it wasn't, I know it wasn't a healthy one.
Yeah.
His father would like burn cigarettes, My grandmother, I'm pretty sure was schizophrenic.
Oh, wow.
I only remember, I'm having a flashback. So when I was around maybe 9 or 10, my grandmother, to make money, lived in a house in upstate New York in Cooperstown, this little nowhere land. So I'm like 9 years old. It's a spooky house. This house is not like a nice country house. It's like Spookville. Yeah. And my grandmother used to take care of old people with mental illness to make money. So like Elsa would be sitting there rocking in the chair.
Oh,
I'm like 9 years old. I'm like,
it's a house of horrors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And my grandmother promised me a horse. And I'm like, okay, where's the horse?
Yeah.
So that's a glimpse into my childhood. That's my father's side. My mother's side was the liquor store owner, and then my grandmother had terrible bipolar disorder and was treated with electric shock therapy, and my mother took her for that.
The immediate silver lining of this is, on paper, no shot. You're going to be riddled with mental health issues.
Yes.
You're going to repeat the cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm not betting on you.
Right.
And so, that's
you
kind
are
of
betting on me now, I hope.
Immediately, the silver lining is like, it doesn't necessarily matter what ingredients go into it.
Well, that's, as a psychologist who does research, part of me, really doesn't like to do these predictive studies, because if you would have measured my social and emotional capacities, my mental health, my relationships, I had self-hatred, I had an eating disorder, I was lonely, depressed, everything.
Yeah.
And you would say, okay, that kid.
I know the percentages. 80% chance you're going to be an addict.
Right.
55% chance of this. Educational achievement is this number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that because I think that's too deterministic.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go back, because I think the critical element in my childhood was, basically a magic wand that happened, which was I had an uncle.
Marvin?
Yeah. Who was a middle school teacher in the Catskill Mountains by day. By night, he was a band leader at the Concord Hotel, these famous Borscht Belt hotels.
Oh, fun. Did he play the clarinet? You just mimed
He was
the
trumpet
clarinet.
player.
Oh, trumpet player.
Yeah,
okay. Sorry. So was he dazzling? He was in show business in some
he was
regard?
you can't even picture this. Imagine the Robin Williams character in Dead Poets Society singing La Bamba at a Jewish resort in the Catskills, who teaches social studies by day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's what's the Patrick Swayze movie?
Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
It's Dirty Dancing meets the Dead Poets Society.
Exactly. So he happened to be going to grad school near my hometown in Jersey, was staying with us one summer, and we're sitting in the backyard, and he just looks at me like no one else had ever looked at me before, and he's like, "Hey, Mark, how you feeling? How's it going?"
Yeah.
There it goes. Everything comes out. I hate my life. I'm being abused.
Oh, wow.
All this, happened. And it was a pretty crazy moment.
Do you think what made him a good candidate in some ways was simply also the knowledge that he was going to leave? Like, he might take your secret with him?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, okay.
And this is because I've now done research on these people.
Yeah.
I call them the Uncle Marvins in our world.
Uh-huh.
And I think he had a number of key qualities. Number one, he was non-judgmental. He was so curious about my life.
Yeah.
He just asked all these great questions. He was warm. Mm-hmm. Now, my parents were kind of warm, but my mother, would be triggered with that. I could do that, and she'd be triggered.
Yeah, that's
and my father same.
That's
my father was the same. Who do you think you're talking to? It was very
yeah.
And I always say that with a father who just tells you to toughen up all the time, and a mother who's going to have a breakdown no matter what you say. I'd be bullied, and I'm getting bullied. Oh my God, I can't handle it. I'm going to have a breakdown. I'm I'm the one having the breakdown.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're either too fragile to exist,
Yeah.
or you need to be this hyper-masculine
Yeah.
and bulletproof figure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Uncle Marvin was different. He was warm. He was non-judgmental. He listened. He was compassionate. You know, I'm sharing with you like the results of like 75 studies that I've done.
Yeah.
I've kind of basically done research. After I wrote this thing called Permission to Feel, this term I kind of wrote about, I decided like that was an anecdote. You know, that I decided that my uncle gave me permission to feel.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how many people have an Uncle Marvin or an Aunt Maria or whoever, someone in their lives that create the conditions for them to be open and honest and truthful about their feelings. And what my research shows across the world is only a third of us.
Have someone like that
Yeah.
in our life or in our past.
Yeah.
The only way I was able to say out loud that it had happened, my motivation was very much, I'm defective. Like, no one's going to love me if they know this.
Yeah.
2, I'm gay. Like, where I grew up, at the time I grew up, that meant I was gay. I knew what the label of gay meant, which was ostracized from everyone in school. So, yeah, the stakes of it felt really enormous. And then I carried that for, I guess, probably 10 years. And then a girl in my senior year, while talking at a Burger King sitting on the hood in the parking lot, told me that she had been raped that summer by somebody. It was just so available and honest. It would have felt like a crime to not match her vulnerability, right? It would have felt really disingenuous. So then I told her.
Did you have an Uncle Marvin?
I would say she was, right? I think she's the person that got that out of me. I don't know when it comes out, if ever it comes out without her,
Well, I think you were. He was. That's why she said it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
You
I
know?
was.
You were that person for each other.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
warm and non-judgmental. Maybe she felt comfortable to tell me that, and then I felt like I owed that back to her. Yeah.
What about for you? Did you have a Aunt Maria or Uncle Marvin?
No, I wouldn't say anyone in my family could hear anything super sensitive.
Bonnie's first generation Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're, they come with a
Emotions
little
are
bit.
probably to be avoided. For
Emotions
the
are
most part.
to be,
Yeah.
or they're scared. Like it's not that you
It's
can have
positive
them.
emotions
but,
only.
Yeah. Otherwise, it feels like you're burdening them because
Yeah.
then they're worried. It's kind of the same. It's not like
It's a
even
different
still.
form of
It's
it.
like that. It's like, okay, I have to tell you something, and then you see like the stress on their. They're trying. They're trying to be
Yeah.
there, but they're like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, oh no. Now they're so stressed about this thing. So no, I don't think I did. But I
Callie?
didn't have any. I mean, I did have friends. I did have a lot of
Yeah, did
good
they have to be older?
friendships.
No.
No, yeah.
I didn't have capital T trauma to report.
Well,
Luckily,
everybody's got a story, and
Yeah.
I think that what's critical about this, going back to the research for a minute, is that it does predict a lot about our lives. And so
Yeah.
I've done studies where it's like you have one, you don't have one. What's different about your personality? What's different about your mental health? What's different about your life satisfaction? And I find huge differences,
Yeah.
like 15% differences in people's purpose and meaning in life.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing, which is kind of comical? Is like you would think abuse is so specific, but at the core, you and I have the same fear, which is you were Indian, did not want anyone to know because that would lead to exclusion. I was secretly gay because I had been molested and was going to lead to exclusion. Like, funny enough, the driving force is still like, I'm not going to be
Shame.
a part of my
Shame,
community from the
exactly.
shame. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gay, or am gay.
Yeah.
And so I was, even when I was like a teenager and I was having some courage to talk about it,
Yeah.
my parents blamed it on my abuse. It's like, oy.
Right.
It's like, you just think you're gay because you were abused. I'm like, well, actually, it's like a really different phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yes. And it implies that what you have is damage.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
that was-
complicated.
I mean, I grew up in New Jersey where the only gay guys that I had access to, I mean, like in terms of like knowing what it meant to be gay was like my mother's hairdresser. It was like,
Right.
Yeah.
flamboyant Teddy.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not Teddy.
Yeah. There's 2 questions I have about your childhood. One is there was somehow media attention that followed
Yeah,
the
and-
revelation.
Unfortunately.
This sounds terrible. Please, what happened?
So it just so happens that my parents had a friend who was a psychiatrist who happened to be writing a book about pedophilia. And I was, I'm kind of the same today as I was when I was a kid. I was precocious. I got a lot of grit. I'm a very persevering kind of guy.
Yeah.
However, it's development matters.
Yeah.
So when my parents' friend said to my parents, I'm going to be on television and I think Marc should join me to share his story.
Oh, God.
And my parents, told me about it, which they probably shouldn't have done to begin with. I was like, I got to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect other kids. I'm going to tell.
Yeah.
What
and I did
age?
do it. 12.
Ooh.
Hey.
Yeah, dumb. I mean, national television. It was like a big station. I forget what it was back then. I think it was WPIX New York. And so here I am. And of course, now my secret, which I had disclosed to my parents and to my neighborhood, which became also a really weird place to live.
Yeah.
Because the pedophile, he got arrested, but then returned home for a year before he went to prison. So I'm every day I'm going to school, seeing this guy's house.
God.
His kids were my friends. It was very awkward. And then it becomes on national television.
Yeah.
And now I'm like a pariah. It was terrible. No one realized, wait a minute, people don't know how to deal with this at home, nevertheless, in the world.
Yeah.
And here's 12-year little Marc who's going to 6th grade.
Yeah.
And it's
forget it.
Parents of their, my friends' parents would don't play with Marc. He's,
Right, because now you're a liability.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it was horrific. It led to a lot of bullying, an eating disorder.
You had bulimia.
Yeah.
And I think we have a pretty common understanding that is generally a search for control. Is that what it gave you?
I mean, I was so distorted with my self-perception. I had body dysmorphia. I would look in the mirror and just see something that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And we had there was a teenage kid next door who was very fit.
Yeah.
And I just lived in envy of that. And it just, everything just messed with my brain.
Well, yeah. Also, if the world is telling you you're bad or stay away from you, and you're like, but I'm trying to do the right thing. This is so confusing. For an adult, it would be confusing identity-wise, let alone a kid.
Yeah, being applauded for your bravery, I'm sure, but then the results are nobody wants
Trauma,
to be around.
more
around
double
you.
trauma.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I disclosed it to get rid of the trauma. Now I'm double traumatized.
So did Uncle Marvin tell you to tell your parents?
Oh, yes.
He
I mean,
did.
that happened my brother was there. It became this moment where my father took a bat, was going to kill the man.
Oh, wow.
My mother called the police. He got arrested immediately.
Okay.
Happened to be that one of our neighbors was a police officer who kind of helped facilitate all this. It was but then we realized there were a lot of kids on my block. I was the only one who disclosed it, but other kids then. And then his nephew lived on our block and he said, oh my God, not again. Dude, you let your uncle who abused you move to our block and you've suppressed it, but now we're all victims of it. That's not cool.
Ugh.
Well,
So-
again, that becomes. We just had an expert on she's the head of the Johns Hopkins Center for studying this, and I have lived with the guilt of I never told anyone. I don't know if that dude went on to do that a bunch more, and a little bit relieved that she told me 70% of sexual abuse towards minors is from other minors who don't necessarily ever do it again.
Yeah.
So I was I was comforted by that. Well, God, I hope that was the situation because I have the guilt.
Because yours was a teenager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had that too, actually. So
Okay,
another
sure.
neighbor,
Uh-huh.
Also decided that was another opportunity.
I tried to tell Monica this. I don't know if it's
So
where I grew up or the era I grew up on, but there was so much fucking perversion happening all around at all times.
It's still, by the
I
way, the
think
data
it
are
is
terrible
still,
yeah.
in terms of how much abuse there is.
Yeah.
Some of us get through it.
Yeah.
And I dedicate my career, my life, my health, my wellness to my uncle because he gave me something to focus on,
Yeah.
which was basically how to be open with my emotions and then how to regulate them.
Right. I'm surprised you went to Rutgers. I might have wanted to get many, many states away.
It was because it was state and cheap.
It was cheap. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went there and you did undergrad there.
Did undergrad there, majored in psychology and Spanish. So my career, I'm like one of those people that has like a very non-traditional career path.
Yeah.
I taught martial arts.
Okay.
So
What version?
It's called Hapkido.
Okay.
So I got a 5th degree black belt in Hapkido. Became very, very like competitive, and taught it for years. And then I also sold skincare with my mother, which I'm not sure why I just told that to millions of people. And nutrition products, and that was a whole other
like
thing.
an
That was a
MLM?
multi-level
Yes.
marketing
Yeah.
company, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. But I was like, like I'm gonna be a diamond.
Yeah, of course. And while you were studying for GRE, your mom passed?
Yes. Bombed the GREs. Like bad. Got rejected from graduate school the first year, all of them. Nobody accepted me. I'm sitting with my mother, 23, in a diner in New Jersey. She was not feeling well. I later learned that she had pancreatic cancer.
Which is very accelerated. Yeah.
She died 4 months later.
Yeah.
I'm selling skincare. I graduated college. I am teaching karate. I'm teaching aerobics. I'm teaching all these things and trying to figure out who I am, what I'm doing in my life. I had a girlfriend for many years. And my mother just looks at me at this dinner table or breakfast table. And she's like, your father and I have determined that you're a loser.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. A tough love time.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And I looked at
not
her and I said, go fuck yourself.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And she runs out of the diner screaming and crying, like literally having a total breakdown. She's driving the car around in circles in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
I run after my mother. No, Mom, it's going to be okay. I promise you, I'm not a loser. And it was a really big moment, in my life. Of course, who do I call?
Uncle
Marvin.
Round
Yeah.
two.
Exactly.
You sitting down?
Not kidding, though. It's like
Yeah.
road trip to Fort Lauderdale because he had retired there. And actually, that's what made I really bonded for a second time with my uncle. And we just started talking through things. And I had to get out of my situation. And I'm like, what am I doing with it was eye-opening. It wasn't like the most emotionally intelligent way of motivating your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, would not recommend, but
Exactly. It could have been done with a little bit more compassion. But anyway, it did force me to go to Florida to be with my uncle for a little bit. And that's when I decided to pull him out of retirement. And we would write a book together.
Oh.
And who the hell, I knew, I was like 24.
Yeah.
What do I know about writing books or curricula?
Yeah.
My uncle is in his mid-60s, retired. And just a little side story about this. So my uncle was this incredible person, not only for me, but for his community, for kids. But his program was so provocative in the 1970s and 80s that the parents forced him to retire. Oh. There's moments where I walk around, 5,000 schools use our program now. We've reached 10 million children across the world. Mm-hmm. And I think, what I get accolades for, what I get to talk with you about, is what got my uncle fired.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So that's what he was pursuing, was some kind of emotional education.
Yes. Yeah. He realized it was the missing link in education.
Yeah.
And he was really ahead of his time in terms of this field called SEL, which wasn't there 50 years ago now. And so I pull him out of retirement. We start writing this curriculum. And then I realized, I have no credibility.
Right.
Who's going to buy a book?
You need to be anointed.
Yeah, I need to get a PhD.
Yeah.
And so I decided to apply for my PhD. I just thought, there's these researchers. One is at Yale, one is at New Hampshire. I wrote to them both. They both agreed to meet with me for lunch. The guy from Yale said to me, "You're a great guy, but you're never going to get in."
Yeah.
And the guy from New Hampshire said, "I'll give you early admission."
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
That was also a shock.
That wasn't John Mayer that you met
Yes.
with. It was.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Mayer became your supervisor.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about John Mayer and his contribution to this. And I think now would be a great time to define emotional intelligence.
Good idea.
As well. Yeah.
So John Mayer, or Jack as he goes by.
Do you think they've added the D to his name on Wikipedia because of John Mayer, the musician? Did he always go by John D. Mayer, or is that new?
Academics always add that,
Okay.
but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then the other person is Peter Salovey, who became the president of Yale, who also, these two guys wrote this theory called emotional intelligence that I was using to guide my curriculum.
What was novel about this term, emotional intelligence? What were they doing? How were they approaching it that gave it validity?
Yeah. Historically, I mean, you think about it, emotions. When I say the word emotional, what comes to mind? Quick.
You always think of women.
Yes.
It's very gendered.
Feminine.
Yeah.
What else?
I think like
thought-
loss of control.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Angry, sad.
Yeah, like hysteria.
Hysteria. Yeah,
Emotional,
yeah,
like you
yeah.
can't handle it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the opposite of emotional intelligence.
That's emotional stupidity.
Yeah, or emotional bankruptcy or whatever.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence is using your emotions wisely to achieve your goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a broad definition. Now we get specific, and this is where my kind of research has gone. So Peter and Jack wrote this theory. They proposed a set of skills. And then what I've been doing for the last 25, 30 years is kind of fine-tuning it all.
Really quick. So the traditional intelligence has metrics, or we attempt to, right? We have IQ tests.
Yeah.
We have different tests to assess the aptitude of your intellect. Did they propose a scale to even
They did.
evaluate? So how does that scale work, and what's it?
So let me tell you the skills, and I'll tell you how they measured.
Okay.
So the first skill is about perceiving or recognizing emotions. So I'm looking at your facial expression right now. I'm looking at you. I'm like, is this going well? Is this not going well? Right? It's self-awareness and social awareness.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, and I, obviously coming from my background, I'm more vigilant than maybe other people would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I got to am I going to get beat up here or, am I
Yeah.
safe? And we're doing that subconsciously.
Right.
We are. We are just, from the moment we wake up and we have a feeling in our bodies and our minds to the walking into the set, to going to a school, our brains are making predictions.
It's incredible. It's astounding we can do it.
Well, and,
As
but a
social
lot of us don't do it
primates.
so well.
Yeah.
It's like this underrepresented area of intelligence that we don't give enough attention to.
Right.
Hence the work that we do in schools to try to make this part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if we want to talk about that, is so much pushback right now on this.
Really?
Oh, really?
Political, it's been polarized.
Why? Because people
'cause
say
it's
it's like
probably-
soft.
It's woke.
Yeah, it's woke.
Well, it is not woke.
It's
I'm
not.
gonna say that
not.
clearly.
Yeah.
It
But
is
but it
not.
seems to overlap with
Yeah.
this endlessly progressive.
Yes.
Let's all talk about our feelings. No one's got to be tough and just
Exactly.
fucking show up and do the job.
Yeah.
I get it. It's
if
not
it-
hard for me to lock into what they're feeling.
Yes. And the thing is that, like, the way you said it is not what it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you follow?
As
Like-
someone who's observed it in my children, yeah, that's not
it's
what
like
it
that's
is.
not. I don't want kids.
No.
endlessly-
It reduces fragility,
Yeah,
funny
exactly.
enough. The fear is we're making all these kids so
100%.
fragile that they can't even
Yes.
function.
Yes.
But yes, it's the opposite is true. This makes you incredibly resilient. Yeah.
And the irony is the people who normally are saying it and saying it in that way are the people that have no emotional tools.
Yes.
Generally, because that
And are
that
hiding
is a
something
fear
that is scarier than
response.
anything else.
Yeah, I think they're scared in a way that is not.
Yeah.
They're not locked into like having what it's like to have emotional tools.
I think to be compassionate to those people, the thing that they're, when they consider that being emotional, they have the sense that to do so would be to completely destroy them permanently and there'd be no
exactly.
coming back. So I feel that's a person
they
who's
need the
carrying
tools.
a tremendous amount.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I always say the dude in the pickup truck that's jacked up with the nutsack hanging out the back that flips me off, that is my hardest guy to have the compassion for. And it is the one that needs the most compassion.
It's funny you say that. So I'm giving a speech. I do these reunion speeches at the university all the time. And so I'm giving like there's hundreds of alumni. I give like my, it's like when I love doing these speeches because I can just joke with all the graduates. And then I'm driving home. I'm literally on Route 95, and this massive truck drives by with a flag, and it says, "Fuck feelings."
Yeah.
You can't make it up. I'm like, did they know I was giving the speech 15 minutes ago? Anyway, it's just out of
Fuck feelings.
And it's like, really? Here's what I find, and I want to go back to the skills in a second, but what I find is that people have a misunderstanding of what it is and that they're against something that it's not.
Right.
So when I meet people who are against the work, I just say, well, what do you think it is? And then I say, well, let me share with you what it is. How would you feel if your kids had good strategies to manage stress and anxiety? Definitely want that for my kid. How would you feel if your kid had a better vocabulary so they can describe things and write better? That's important. I said, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We are supported by HP. If you're a parent or you know one, like I do, or you can help take care of kids, you already know what August feels like. It's not summer anymore, it's the pregame. The supplies list, the forms, the "we need this printed by tomorrow" texts that come in at 9 p.m. And I say this as someone who's been on the receiving end of those texts in a former life. You want to help. You're ready to help, and then the printer says no, out of ink, blinking at you, useless. It's such a small thing, but it will absolutely derail your night. So when I heard about the HP Smart Tank printer from HP, America's most trusted printer brand, I thought, this is the kind of thing that actually makes life easier. Not in a big flashy way, in a one less crisis way. Instead of those little cartridges that run out the second you need them, the HP Smart Tank uses refillable ink tanks, and it comes with up to 3 years of ink included. That's 3 back-to-school seasons without the cartridge panic. HP can't fill out the forms for you, but they can make sure the printer is never the reason you're up past midnight. Search HP Smart Tank.
We are supported by Allstate. Checking Allstate first could save you hundreds on car insurance. Not checking that your keys are actually in your hand before you close the car door. Have you ever stood in a parking lot full of sun staring at your keys sitting right there on the seat 4 inches away and completely useless to you? It's a very specific kind of humbling. Yeah, checking first is a good idea. So check Allstate first for an auto quote. It could save you hundreds. And for fast, reliable help when you need it, add an Allstate roadside plan today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Potential savings vary. Insurance and roadside assistance plans are subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Insurance provided by Allstate North American Insurance Company, Northbrook, Illinois. Roadside assistance plans provided by Allstate Motor Club, Incorporated, an Allstate affiliate.
Okay, so first skill. This is, by the way, the acronym is RULER.
Yeah.
So recognize emotions. Paying attention to other people's emotions, face, body, voice, behavior. Paying attention to my own emotions, what's going on in my head, what's going on in my body. Boom.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
It just crossed my mind. We know that for autistic.
I'm good. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me.
You can diagnose me as ADHD at the end of this. If
I have it too. So
Okay. We know that for autistic kids and adults, it is harder for them to read some of the cues that would let them know what the other person's emotions are. Do they have the same difficulty identifying their own?
Oftentimes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's a struggle for
It is
autistic,
a struggle.
Yeah.
Which probably causes some of the outbursts and stuff because there's like
It bottles up. Yeah, so we've worked with many schools that serve children on the spectrum, and we've had great results. You just have to go slower, use more cues. I mean, I think what's interesting is that oftentimes interventions have this weird thing. Oh, we're going to make the kid less autistic. That's not our goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Our goal is to help the child be who they are, but have slightly more skills in that space.
There's also this very annoying thought, which is like anything short of perfection is proof that it doesn't work. So even if you take the autistic kid to 1 on the scale to 3, their life experience is going to be measurably better.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I live in the world of everybody's got to have the perfect everything.
Yeah.
All right. Recognizing emotions. We're good with that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is understanding of emotions. So this is really trying to understand why we have feelings and where they come from and the differences between and among them. So I'm going to give you a little test of emotional intelligence. What is the psychological difference between anger and disappointment?
What's the psychological?
Anger is outward and disappointment is inward.
Okay.
Oh, that's really good. That's a good one.
It's good. It's
It's not correct. I gotta go.
It's a B, sorry.
Fuck.
Yeah, but on that same train, I would say anger generally you assign responsibility to something outside yourself, and then the other one you're responsible for. Yeah, it's like a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So shame is shame.
I guess it can come externally.
Yeah, you can be disappointed in others, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay. I want to disappoint.
You want to be perfect.
I do.
Yeah, we're aiming for. In fact,
shouldn't ask
ideally
us
before the
questions.
other one is perfect.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. You should never ask us questions, or we're going to be here for so long. There's like a sadness and disappointment. You let me down. Like an expectation.
There you go. So disappointment comes from unmet expectations. Anger comes from perceived injustice.
Perceived injustice. Okay.
Like, that's not fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, you have kids,
Yes,
obviously.
I do. Yeah.
If I come home from school, I hate school. How am I feeling?
I would say frustrated. Something is
Yeah.
frustrating.
How do you know?
Bodily response.
I just think because it's all consuming. Anger is like
You had
really
a physical response when you did
enveloping
that.
condition you have temporarily. Yeah, where it's just like your amygdala's on fire, right? You're not running anything through the frontal lobe. You're not.
But
not
you're
pressure
assuming
checking.
that
I'm assuming that. Yeah.
from my behavior.
Yes.
So this is where emotional intelligence comes in really handy, because we tend to overly diagnose emotion from behavior. When we observe a behavior, we think we know how the person is feeling based on their behavior.
Got you. Right.
And I could be feeling shame, I could be feeling sadness, but I'm a boy who's gay, I don't want anybody to know, and I'm feeling inferior or whatever, and I'm just going to look tough, or I'm going to try my best to look tough.
Right.
And you're going to be my dad, and you're going to get triggered by my anger expression, and then it's going to be a whole thing.
Yeah.
Until you can lower your emotional temperature to be more present with me and help me lower mine and get to know the why and the understanding,
Right.
you're not going to know that it's actually someone spit on me on the bus and I hate myself.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to go to school tomorrow,
Yeah,
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Here's the research. We grossly overestimate our skills.
Yeah.
I think I'm great at this. And it's like, well, let me give you some feedback.
Yeah.
And so you think about that, how many people misperceive our facial expressions, our body language. I get misperceived all the time. People always think like there's something wrong when they come near me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm actually pretty content. But I think because of being a scientist, I'm literally always thinking about stuff and I make weird facial expressions. So when I'm walking, I'm not like walking like, I'm walking like, And people are like, what's wrong? Nothing. I'm just thinking about something.
Yeah.
You're like grinding through a thought
Yes.
a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, even worse, I think, is like, you have what you interpreted, which is often wrong. But then I think even worse than that is you immediately run it through your narrative. So it's like your kid comes home frustrated. Your overarching fear for me is like, oh, my kids don't know how good they have it. They've grown up in abundance, and I'm so fearful they're not right.
They have no gratitude.
Yeah, they have no gratitude, no understanding. So anytime they're unhappy, it sends the alarm bells that other thing's happening. So my inclination is to figure out a time where like, oh, well, no, were you inconvenienced? Did you have to wait in a line? My fear of what could go wrong is likely what I'm going to attribute it all to, ultimately, like attribution error.
That's what it is. It's attribution errors.
Yeah.
It's a misattribution of emotion.
Yeah.
And so this skill of recognizing other people's emotions is tricky because we hide our emotions a lot. So understanding emotion is understanding the causes of emotion, the consequences, the differences. And I think the key here is, going back to our stories of, growing up as a gay guy, there's a lot of homophobia in our society.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. Especially when we grow up.
Yeah. And even still right now.
Yeah.
And so as a gay guy, I might be more triggered by homophobic jokes than you would be or you would be.
Right.
Totally.
You might be more triggered by race stuff.
Oh, I am. Yeah, we do get into it. We do get into it.
Yeah, I have the luxury of pretty much thinking everything's funny because I'm a very tall, white, straight man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're good.
They rarely come for us in the jokes.
We've gotten in a lot of fights about like what's mean and what's not mean.
Yeah, what's mean and what's not mean.
It's really interesting because like for me, I'm like, that's mean. And he's like, it's not mean. Like
Well, there you
nobody's
go.
here. Yeah. He's like, nobody's here to be upset about it. But for me, it's like, it's so deep.
Yeah.
Like being called something or made fun of in that way.
Even
like,
without your knowledge is the ultimate fear. Are they
worst
being nice
fear.
to me here, but when they're by themselves, they're like, she's
Yeah.
so brown.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just like put myself in every single, even if it's not a race joke, but it's just like something. I'm just like, no, you can't do that.
And I think what you're getting at here is the core of understanding. So going back to anger, perceived injustice. And my husband is Latino. He's dark skinned. And so we've been in situations. We were in a restaurant in Connecticut, and this is the best. We're getting set, to go to sit down. And the host says, "Where'd you get your tan?"
Oh boy.
And he's like, "My mother."
Oh my God.
I mean, he's dark.
yeah.
He is not, like a wasp who has a tan in Connecticut. Anyway.
He's the real deal. He's what us whites are going for with that tan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, he's an immigrant, so he has different, like his relationship to the American kind of thinking around race is different. Even though he's my husband, we've been together 32 years, long time. I cannot relate to what it feels like to be a man of his skin color walking around a store in Connecticut and being monitored.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me. Just like, well, he can really because he's also gay. He's got a double
But,
whammy.
but I was going to say, I a little bit reject that.
Say more.
You cannot experience those exact details,
Correct.
but those human emotions, you can.
You're making a good point, which is that I can relate to the shared emotion.
You've been in a locker room with a bunch of
Yes.
straight dudes that somehow are speaking
Yes,
some language so
exactly.
organically, and you're like, what the fuck?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I can't relate to the experience, but I can relate to the emotion associated with the experience.
Right. Which are unifying, which is beautiful. Humans have the same
Yes.
emotions.
And that's why it's so important to get at the emotion level. I can't talk about what's going on in your head when someone's monitoring you as a person of color. Just like you as a straight guy, you have some background in this, but you're not going to feel the same way I'm going to feel or have the same experience psychologically as I'm going to have when I hear people making jokes about Jews or homophobic stuff.
Yeah.
But we can have a shared emotional experience.
Yeah.
And that's what emotional intelligence really at the understanding level is I need to have empathy and compassion and curiosity about what makes you feel the way you do so I can be a better friend.
Yeah, totally.
Otherwise, if I'm like, well, why would you feel that way? Like,
Yeah.
like, really?
Yeah.
That's not emotional intelligence. So then there's the L, labeling emotions, getting super precise about our feelings. And we have a tool that we call the mood meter, which you may have seen. It's in schools. That it's a 2x2 grid of colors to help people describe their feelings. Actually, quick side note is during the pandemic, the co-founder and CEO of Pinterest reached out to me and is like, I read your book and I really would love to work with you on an app.
Oh.
And so we created an app called How We Feel that is free forever.
Amazing.
We have 3 million people using it now every month.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
And it is a tool to help build emotional self-awareness. And so it's fantastic. Check it out. But the idea behind it is that it takes the science of emotion. So emotions have pleasantness associated with them, and they have energy or activation levels. And you cross these two things and you get yellow, red, blue, and green. Yellow is high energy, pleasant, like happy, excited. Green, pleasant but low in energy, like calm, content. Blue, low energy but unpleasant, sad, disappointment, lonely. And then the red is the upper left, which is high energy, unpleasant, anger, anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put 144 words to map that out with their definition so people can build their emotional self-awareness. And the key of labeling is just precision. Let's try one. Can we try another one?
Yeah.
Anxiety, stress, pressure, fear. What's the difference?
Anxiety is, I think, unique in that, or specific in that you are very fearful of the outcome of something, which is unknown. Stress to me can be much more predictive. I've had the same job for 35 years. Oh, I'm in one right now. Like, we always have to stockpile this time of year so we can have a vacation. It is what it is this year. But I already have had the experience of doing it. I know I'll get through it. So it's like I don't have anxiety about it, but I have the stress of the workload. What were the other two?
Pressure, fear.
Pressure and fear.
I think there's no difference.
I want you to get your PhD.
I thought that was the right
that was a
answer.
trick question.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I thought it was a trick question.
You're trying to be too clever.
I was.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people say. They think I'm like Mr. Neurotic emotion labeling guy.
And then pressure to me is just stakes. It means it's something of value. It could be an indicator that you value this thing. That's why you feel the pressure of it.
Yeah, I don't think pressure's negative necessarily.
No.
It could be, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay. And then fear?
Probably, yeah. Fear to me is related to anxiety in that it's generally an outsized feeling about something that when you're in, you'll just walk through, So it's like there's some asymmetry to fear.
Let's get to the...
Let's get granular.
Yeah, that's the word. So anxiety, it actually is the word, emotion granularity. So anxiety is about uncertainty, perceived uncertainty around the future. I get anxious when I can't make the prediction. What's going to happen? Stress is having too many demands and not enough resources. It's like,
yeah,
can't do it all.
I'm finite.
Yeah. Pressure, something at stake, is dependent upon your behavior. So the pressure for me to get through this podcast, I'm not anxious about it necessarily. I'm not stressed. It's pressure.
Yeah.
You got to perform.
Right.
It's anxiety, stress, pressure, and fear is impending danger. That's like immediate danger. Now, why does this matter?
I would say that most people are really prone to label those things interchangeably.
Yep.
And all four have much different solutions.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The key is that for yourself, for your loved one, for your kids, for your colleague, really getting at that level of granularity will help you have a solution.
Right.
So, for example, if you're anxious about something, you're going to ruminate likely. You can go for the walk, you're going to come back and ruminate. You can take your deep breaths, you can do your yoga, you do your downward dog, and you'll still come back like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So matching the emotion to the strategy is key. This whole book I wrote, that's my new book called Dealing with Feeling, which is to help people make that connection.
Yeah.
Because most people, even, I'll give you an example, Yale, all these bright people, all my students said they were stressed. I was like, come on, stressed? I mean, I had empathy because they were 78% of the time feeling that way. But at the same time, I didn't believe it was actually stressed. What do you think the number one emotion actually was?
Anxiety.
Yeah, that would be my guess. You're at this really interesting phase of your life where they're giving you 4 years to figure out exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life. And
the future is very uncertain.
Yeah, and how does one know if they've picked the right lane? It's all about the future, and did I pick right, and am I rising to the occasion?
And the answer is none of the above.
Okay, great.
Okay, that was a trick.
That was a trick. You finally got it. Yeah, you knew he was going to slide a trick in.
Sorry. The answer is envy.
Oh.
Envy was
They're
the number.
mislabeling stress for envy. Because they're sitting in class thinking, you study for fewer hours and get better grades. Your father's famous. Your mother has connections in Wall Street. Your mother...
Interesting.
All they're doing is making social comparisons about physical appearance, about, you were the real valedictorian.
Yeah.
And so when I did this research with them where I had them journal about all their feelings and came back and found that it was the real understanding of emotion showed up. It was envy, not stress or pressure. And I think that's important because what you would do to manage envy is way different than what you would do to manage anxiety or stress.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the core of my kind of newer work is really helping people make the connection between their emotional experience and the selection of the best strategy to regulate it. Crazily, what do you think the number one hoped for emotion is? Like, how do you want to feel at school, at the university?
What their answer would be?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, would they be honest enough to say? I think everyone just wants to be adored.
It's close. It's loved.
Yeah,
Love.
love. I mean, yeah.
But that one really surprised. The envy one didn't shock me because, everything's about social comparison these days.
Yeah.
But the love one was a little sad for me, especially on college campuses. It's like, so I did some more research about that. And here's the sad part, which is that the number one reason was they said they felt manufactured.
They felt
Yes.
manufactured?
They felt like their parents, their school they went to, just like to get to be at a place like Yale, they just needed to like
Perform?
like play this sport, do
Be a
this instrument,
puppet.
Yeah.
get this thing, SAT scores, GPAs, travel to this country.
Mm-hmm.
And they felt like they didn't have an identity, which is unbelievable.
And it would be very easy to assume that you
very
were
sad.
loved because of those accomplishments.
Yeah.
As opposed to like you're just intrinsically loved because your parents
Yeah, they
love
feel
you.
it's all extrinsic.
Yeah, that's
sad.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But very predictable.
It is.
For like these elite schools.
Yes.
Also, don't you think that's everyone's answer in the whole world?
I think for different reasons. But I would, in terms of how how do I want to feel in my marriage? Definitely loved.
Right.
But how do I want to feel at work? I don't want to feel loved.
Right.
It's that's too much for me.
Interesting.
You want to feel respected.
I want to feel valued, appreciated,
Yeah.
supported, connected.
Yeah. But some people do want to feel loved at work. They want
Yeah,
to just,
and that's
it's not
tough.
probably not healthy.
But if you're going to a college where 2.5 was the average admittance, no, that's not how your parents picked other things. They were like, Tony's so funny at a party. He's so good at talking to adults. He's a great athlete. So, I think in absence of great accomplishments, the things your parents will call out about you are probably more character driven.
Yeah.
Which is feels more substantive or more intrinsic.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like they'll say he's so nice to kids or he's so good with, Whereas if your kid just got a 4.0 and got a fucking 1800, that's what you're going to hear them tell their
Yes.
friends.
Well, hopefully you'd hear them say like they're a hard worker, like something still intrinsic.
That's what
but-
you want. I mean,
yeah.
so going back to like what we started talking about with Uncle Marvin and permission to feel is that I think the challenge for most of my students is they don't feel they have the permission to feel. That's why they're dying to feel loved.
Yeah.
And most of them and most people in my research say they feel judged from the moment they came out of the womb. Like you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too dark, you're too light, your nose is too big, your nose is too short, those pants don't fit you right, your hair is, it's just like from the moment you come out, it's like judgment, judgy.
Yeah.
And people are that's why the number one characteristic that people are saying they're wanting in other people is non-judgmental.
That makes sense.
So we got through recognition, self-awareness, social awareness, understanding why am I feeling this way, understanding how people feel. So then the understanding, the labeling, the expression, this is where the cultural differences really show up, where it's kind of knowing how and when to express emotion with different people, across contexts, and across cultures. So, we have, my work is translated now into 33 languages. And so I've gone all over the world. And, we have a center in Italy that does trainings in all throughout Tuscany and Italy. And, I go there, Marco, where have you been all over? I'm like, oh, I love Italy. I go to Hong Kong, Marc's on, really bows to me.
Yeah.
I go to Wall Street. I always joke about this because I gave this talk at a big hedge fund in New York City, and the guy came out in his Versace suit, the perfect tie, perfect side comb, and he's like, "Hello, Dr. Brackett." It's like, I need a little testosterone for this presentation.
Yeah.
It was, but like there's whether it's downtown New York or whether it's, in England or, in Italy or in Hong Kong, there are differences.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just acknowledge that.
Yeah. Oh,
People
yeah.
don't express emotions the same way, like in India.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of Indian students.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I found interesting, and I don't know if you could relate to this, in education in India, there's not necessarily a lot of asking you for your perspectives. There's a lot of sage on the stage.
Yeah.
You know, you are the learner, I am the knower, and I do that.
Interesting.
And so when I
Yeah.
have graduate students, and I'm like, it's time for you to come up with a research project. Like, I've done this already.
Yeah.
They struggle for the first while of like, I have the autonomy to like.
Right. They want to be told what
Yes.
to do. That's interesting. I could.
Can you relate to
probably
that or no?
Well, my mom grew up here, so I have to
Okay.
take her out of it. I would say, I think my dad, I don't know. He really has a lot of opinions and is fine sharing them, but he's also pretty meticulous. He's an engineer,
Okay.
he just retired. So yes, he is also good at like following instructions, very good at it. But I don't know if he's kind of an anomaly, I think.
I'll tell you my experience over the last 11 years being around Monica, and the thing that I was completely wrong about and shattered my naive realism, which was, I'm like, your dad, I don't care where he's from, he would love for you to call him and say, I love you so much.
I was
And she's like,
no.
you really don't understand. That would just make him quite scared.
Yeah.
Why is she sharing this? Something must be wrong. This is so out of the pattern of what's normal. It would just elicit fear. And I have tried to intervene. I flew them secretly to a live show we did so they could watch her on stage.
Fun.
And I had all these expectations of how that would go. And at the end of the whole thing, I had to go, yeah, ma'am, you got to accept it's different. You want there to be this universal thread, and it's not that's not.
It's
it
not
stops there. Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's
Totally.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I kept. I was
It's
like,
nothing
it
wrong. I'm not
doesn't
judging it.
mean- Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I kept telling him, I was like, it doesn't mean they don't love me or I don't
Exactly.
love them, and we aren't confused.
Right.
We aren't like, oh, if they don't call me and tell me this, do they love me? We know. You don't. From the outside, it might look like it's not there, but we know it's there. I don't know. It's like, it was very cultural.
I've been to all over Asia, and what I found is that in certain cultures, just cooking together is a symbol of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the last thing that would happen in my household is like, let's chop, the lettuce or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, again, the point of this is that how we express emotions does vary by personality. I'm an introvert. People think I'm outgoing because I do a lot of public speaking. You know, like even here, I'm traveling for some work here in LA. I'm not going to go out. I'm just not. It's not my thing. I get drained from it.
Yeah.
My brain is so occupied in what I do and what I think about that to unwind, I want to go to a hot yoga class.
Yeah.
I want to have a glass of wine with a friend. I don't want to be that social. And it's taken me years to really own that. And that's part of the work on emotional intelligence. Like knowing my personality will help me find better strategies too.
Mm-hmm.
That's, so again, expressing emotions, you can express them in art, you can express them in spoken word, you can express them through music, but we got to get it out. Unexpressed emotions end up being like a debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We have someone we love so much who has the most paralysis around the expressing, and it's so painful to watch. I can feel the clamped tightness at the thought of it.
discomfort.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking.
That's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, and so that's, part of being what I call an emotion ally is trying to figure out your way in
Yeah.
to give them that opening. It is hard, but sometimes just doing nothing is something in terms of presence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's one, by the way, going back to this kind of emotion ally thing, which is the Uncle Marvin kind of in a psychology term, is that a lot of parents, a lot of people at work, their excuse is, I don't know how to do it. I don't want to open this up because it's going to open up and I'm not going to be able to handle it. Or I'm afraid that I'm going to look bad or things of that sort. And I say, let's go back to the characteristics. Non-judgmental, listener, warmth, compassion. No one's asking you to solve their problems. No one's asking you to fix them. Nobody wants to be fixed. As a matter of fact, in my research, no one ever says that their Uncle Marvin or Aunt Maria was a fixer or an advice giver. And that's really important for people who are listening, because there's an inhibition to showing up because you think you actually have to do something that's going to change that other person's experience, when that's not what they're actually looking for.
Okay, so the last one is regulating, and to me, that's where your book, dealing with feeling, really comes into play. This last component of ruler, which is regulating.
And that's the big one. I'll just share with you what happened for that. So here I am. It's the pandemic. So Horacio is the name of my husband. His mother's name is Irene. She lives in Panama. And my colleague was getting married March 7th of 2020.
Oh, boy.
And so Irene loves this colleague of mine, Robin. And so we fly Irene up from Panama to come to the wedding. Going to come for a couple weeks, whatever. Lo and behold, March 13th, every flight to Panama gets canceled. I think she was scheduled to go home on the 15th or 16th. So we're like, all right, whatever, we'll get through this. 8 months later. 8 months.
With your mother-in-law.
Yeah, she couldn't get home. There was no flights.
Yeah.
And so about 3 months in, she's 81. She was very upset. Like, she had a dog and a parrot we had to figure out how to deal with. I was out of my mind busy because everybody's freaking out, and, masks and no masks and anxiety and fear. And Horacio's a filmmaker. He's a cinematographer. And so he's like out of work because nobody's making out on a movie set, in March and April of 2020. So it gets really kind of ugly in my house. Everybody's tense. And one night my mother-in-law looks at me and she says, are you really the director of the Center for Emotional Intelligence?
Because you've been being shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love you, but not tonight. It's going down. And we were just, at each other's throats. And then, of course, it's late, go to bed. And I went to bed thinking to myself, Marc, you're the director of the freaking Center for Emotional Intelligence. Like, how is it possible that you could not regulate?
Yeah.
Like, how could you not apply your own stuff? For 25 years, you've been teaching this, writing papers, running around. And I realized I really was struggling. And I was not eating healthy. I was not exercising like I was. I was really negative. And obviously, it was a pandemic. It was weird. But nevertheless, I thought I could apply my stuff to that moment. And I was really not doing well. And so I woke up the next morning and I said, I'm going to start a study. I'm going to study thousands of people around the country and find out what they're doing with their feelings and how are they doing. And what I found was people were not doing well. Only 10% of people felt like they had good strategies. Most of the people will say they were drinking, they were eating, they were avoiding, they were being self-saboteurs, they were scrolling on Instagram and whatever else, social media. And it was really eye-opening for me that people were desperate for healthy strategies. And because I was so overwhelmed and I'm an academic and I really had no place to go, I'm like, what I could do is I could lock myself in a room, do research, and write a book.
Yeah.
And so that was my strategy.
Well, the book heads straight at a pretty frequent debate we have on here.
Okay.
I love how it starts. So it starts with you urge people reading to ask yourself this question. Look over all the times in your life that your emotions influenced you to act one way or another. And then ask, did those actions help me or did they hurt me? I think so often people are trapped in whether they deserve to have those emotions or if they were unavoidable. And there's this sense that they're a given and that's that. As that you have some kind of autonomy over that. And the other thing you say in that same paragraph is the degree to which you will get what you want out of life is equal to how well or poorly you deal with your feelings. And so I love this as a setup for the book, which is like, it's real simple. Do you like the outcome of when you were, I would say maybe a victim or a passenger to your feelings? If so, keep going. If that's your conclusion at the end of it, then cool. You like being upset. It doesn't seem to bother you. The outcome's not bad. Who gives a shit?
For you and other people. It's not just about you.
Right. Okay, great.
So you may
Elaborate
be
on that.
Well, like my father would be like, son, this is the way I deal with my feelings. You're going to have to get used to it. I'm like, okay, Dad.
Right.
Let's talk about like having a little bit of an other mindset, other orientation. Like, this is a family. You blowing up every night is not great.
Yeah, maybe great for you. You might be at peace with it.
You're fine with it. Like, but what about everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So,
and then a thing that I think is quite liberating and hopeful is you also write in that same section, many of us believe that the way we respond to our emotions is an intrinsic part of ourselves, a fixed aspect of our personalities, which is simply not true. There's another thing I think people are like, yeah, fine, you don't mind that, but I do. And
yeah,
I like that. That feels liberating that you're not born.
You're not born that way.
Yeah.
It's an important distinction between temperament and personality and emotional intelligence and emotion regulation. I, for example, going back, we're talking about our childhood traumas earlier. When I was in high school, really struggling with coming out of the bullying and identity.
Everyone in your school knew you were molested. That's an insane experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pre-social media. I still can remember, actually, this is even later. This is when I met Horacio. I met him on a movie set. I was hired as a stunt coordinator.
Oh, for a
fun.
fight sequence
Yeah.
okay. What movie was it?
It was a very, very early movie. It's an independent movie called 10 Benny with Adrian Brody. It's first leading role.
Okay.
Cool.
We made it to Sundance. This is 1996.
Uh-huh.
And shot in New Jersey. I had a karate studio. I got hired. I was never a stunt coordinator again, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I got my love of my life.
Yeah.
And I see this exotic guy named Horacio. All being said, he's this gorgeous human being. He's just very good looking. And he's got great genetics, and I hate him for that and love him for it too. And so he's got this, I'm a Jersey boy who's in the closet.
Yeah.
And this exotic guy comes in with his black long hair and this perfect features. And he's like, can you stand in for Adrian Brody? I'm like, yes. I realized, I had done my little experimentation, but this was like the first kind of thing. And I remember coming home that night because I had moved back in with my dad after my mother had died. This is all around the same time. And just going into my room and crying for hours and saying, this is my life. I don't know how can I do this? How can I fall in love with this exotic thing? And how can this is, what's going to happen in my life and what am I going to be? And what are people going to think of me? And I just was so, distraught. And of course, call Uncle Marvin again. And I think the key there was that I didn't know what to do with I didn't realize there was something you could do with your feelings. I just thought you experience these strong negative feelings. They pour through you. Maybe they'll dissipate over time, but there's nothing I could do in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so far from the truth.
And I'll say even worse, when you're in those states, you're most convinced this feeling is permanent.
Yes.
Despite the fact that none of your other feelings are permanent, when they're negative, you're like, well, this is the rest of my life.
It's the rainy day.
Yeah.
It's a thunderstorm. It's going to turn into a hurricane.
It's not going to pass.
No.
Yeah.
What do we argue? What's our debate in this? I'm not following.
Well, like you'll have the woman at the store and then you'll be mad at her and upset. And I'm like, first of all, why would you give that person that much control over your emotional state?
Oh, I see.
That's like a recurring thing. We have these debates where she's like, no, objectively, people are terrible sometimes, and you should feel that way as a result, right? Is that a fair summation?
I don't think I would ever say objectively people are terrible. I don't think that. I think there are people doing bad, not the lady in the store, but there are some people, bad actors in the world doing things that hurt people, and I think it's okay to react to that, to feel that.
That's correct. It's an injustice.
Exactly.
And the right thing to do is say, hey, not cool. You're like being unkind.
Do you let that take you on a ride? Is my question.
No, it's that yes, let me just tell you what I'm thinking, is that the principle that emotions are impermanent is that the rainy day is going to last forever and that there'll be no more sunny days. And objectively speaking, that's not biologically possible.
Yeah, and I don't have that.
No,
I definitely
no.
am of the like every feeling is temporary.
Yeah.
This is I don't operate like that, but I do. So we get sometimes in a debate where he's like, if you are upset by something, like don't let that upset you, and it's like that's upsetting, and it's
Well,
not
don't
gonna
let
be
it have power
upsetting.
over you. I think what you're getting at.
A lot of things. Why am I upset? What did it trigger?
Yeah.
If you're focused on that person, then your life for the rest of your life will be out of your control. If that person has the power to dysregulate you, as opposed to that person triggers this fear in me that I have control over addressing, and that when I get my arms around that fear, lo and behold, that person who I said was objectively offensive, I'll magically discover isn't that offensive. I believe that to be very true. There are a lot of negative things you could say to me, but it requires that I carry my own insecurity about that to be effective. There's a lot of things being said about me that are probably objectively negative that have no impact on me whatsoever because they don't trigger any of my own fears.
Right.
So my point is these people are roadmaps to your work.
I agree. At the same time, it depends how intimate you are. If it's your husband, your wife, your partner, your mom, your dad, your colleague, and you can't get out of that relationship, it does make it tougher.
Sure. You need a lot more tools at your disposal.
And if you don't do something about it, it can move into the realm of gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. If you're going along with it.
Yes.
But if you're not.
No, if you're not, it doesn't change the feeling.
Right.
Right.
That's the thing.
Because the feeling is an accumulation of your whole life experience.
Yeah.
It's not just that moment.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost assured it's not that moment.
Exactly.
That's kind of the point I like to make is like, this person gave you kind of a little gift. Why would this stranger with no impact on your life have the ability to alter your mood? That's a great clue as to what work we get to do.
Correct.
It is, but you are like in that moment, don't be offended. And it's like, I'm allowed to be offended in the moment when someone says or does something that is offensive. I mean, this sort of does go back to some of the like, I do think I spent a lot of my life having to like turn the other way when a lot of offensive things were happening. So I'm very acutely aware of like, that I don't like that. I don't like the way that way it feels.
But my question is, do you think that's a given, that you will always feel that way in response to that person? Or do you believe you might be able to change yourself and have a different experience of that person? That's my curiosity.
I guess the truth is like, I don't care to have a different opinion of the person, the stranger. Yes, if it's someone in my life and I have to live with them and understand them and know them, like, yes, that requires some real, like, we got to work things out. I got to figure out who I am in relation to you, whatever. But if it's a stranger at a store who said something offensive or did something offensive, do I feel like I need to bypass, like, I don't.
I wouldn't want you to deny your feeling. I'm not asking you to deny your feeling. My question is, do you think you might do some work that may result in you not even having the feeling in the face of that person?
I don't think it's possible to not have the feeling.
That's the goal.
I can give you my own anecdote where this was the breakthrough of all breakthroughs to me. 2011, I'm directing a movie, maybe 2012. My mother has come in. She's doing craft service. It's a family affair. It's a small budget movie. There is a PA on the movie that has a terrible personality. I mean, they have a terrible personality. Now, I had been anointed the most important person on the set because I'm the director. So I have no insecurities about my role whatsoever, right? And I would come home at night and I would be talking with my mom at the end of the day and she'd be like, oh, I hate that guy. He's so condescending. He says blah, 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 and he treats me like shit and blah, blah. And I just had this moment where I was like, oh, yeah, he talks the same way to me, but I know it's on paper. I'm above him. I have the power. So what I know about this person, he's not being condescending. He just has a shitty personality. From that moment on, I, as a commitment, was like, oh, well, if I always felt that way, if I always felt secure, I don't think I'm going to deal with as many problems. And I think that's true.
I think, but you're getting at a power dynamic, and that's a critical thing. People with greater power have less to worry about.
They have a luxury
Yes.
of not succumbing to this inferiority story.
But if it's a racist boss,
we gotta bracket racism.
yes.
But it's part of my whole history.
I know,
so
but
we
racism,
can't.
if she said something racist to you, I'm not asking you to not care about that. But if she says something that implies you're not worthy of being in the store, I
Okay.
think that's your thing.
But it's a whole accumulation of. I mean, what do you?
I'm thinking about this.
Yeah,
This is
what do
like,
you
you know,
You're now a marriage counselor.
yeah, I was going to say, this is like, this is breaching, you know.
And here's a tricky
Put
thing
on
that I
your
will
Lorna
say.
hat.
We do fact checks here. So it's like we come in here and we tell stories about what happened that weekend or whatever.
Sure.
So that's when that story comes up, right? That lady, I did not think about her. I wasn't like for hours after, like, God, like that bitch. Like I forgot immediately. And then I was like, what did I do this weekend? Oh, I have a story.
Yeah.
It does not rule my life, but it's an incident that does cause an emotion in the moment. But I just think it's fine
Just
to
so
have
you
an
know,
emotion
I
in
have
the
tons of
moment.
those. I don't think you're unique in
I
that.
think
don't
what we're
you're
getting at
lesser.
here is this nuance, which, let me try to say it my way, which is that the assumption that we make is that when we feel a strong, unpleasant feeling in a moment, is that we're going to have a strong, unhelpful, automatic, unhelpful response. And that's where I think where you're connecting here, which is that noticing, having like, I could be enraged, doesn't mean I have to throw something.
Mm-hmm.
But we make an assumption that if I'm enraged, it means I'm out of control. Not true. I have lived with anxiety for 56 years. And I'm pretty freaking good at dealing with it. And most people would not, most people think I'm the most even-keeled, calm person. I'm like, I'm a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very skillful. I have like tons of strategies for different situations to, sometimes I'm like, hey, anxiety, welcome. Good to see you today. Have a good day. Bye-bye. And there are other days when I have to work a lot harder at it. And there are moments in life. I was in a taxi coming from the airport the other day, and the guy was driving like 500 miles an hour. I'm like, dude, you got to slow down. It's like, this is like not safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got pissed.
Yeah. He got embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, respectfully, I'm an anxious passenger. I'm not. But I was in that moment. And I just needed him to slow down. And so I didn't need to like scream at him. Like if I had a friend of mine with me who I won't mention, but she would have been like out of her mind, you know, like
Fight or flight
yeah.
about it.
And again, I think the big question for these experiences is, how do we feel at the end? If you feel like crap because someone was not kind to you, you got to observe that and say, am I giving them too much power? Am I not giving them too much power? Do I need a better strategy? Am I ruminating? Am I not ruminating? And that's where I think the science of emotion regulation is so critical, because no matter what, we have to have a belief system. This is kind of where the work began, is, do you even believe that you can do it?
Yeah. That's why I like the rejecting your intrinsically set with this reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone, we're all in learning mode here.
But that's a mindset, which
It's
you
a
talk a lot
mindset.
about. Like, so let's start with the mindset. Do you think, you might feel different? Is that an option?
Is it possible that you could learn helpful ways to deal with your feelings? No.
I think a lot of people would just say no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we call a fixed mindset.
Uh-huh.
And that's going to impact your choice of strategies. It's going to impact your willing to learn new ones.
Yeah.
So we've got to work on the mindset piece first. I do in my keynote talks and my presentations, a lot of my work is giving people like the science behind the mindsets. Oh, it's possible. Oh, there's no bad emotions. Oh, emotions are impermanent.
I like the call to self-evaluate because, again, you're not saying there is a threshold by which you're suffering from your reaction. It's just saying, when you look back, do you think you would have better outcomes by regulating differently?
Yep.
And do you want different outcomes? If
Yes.
you don't, if it's no to the first and no to the second, then keep it moving.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Have a great life.
Yeah. But if you want to emotionally regulate and learn to do that, by God, you have a system laid out. So I guess I want to first start by, what is the actions of emotional regulation?
The way I like to think about it is that emotion regulation is a set of goals and strategies. Simple. I can prevent an unwanted emotion. So let's say I thought I would be anxious coming here today.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 15-minute taxi ride to like do some breathing exercises, give myself some positive self-talk. So that way when I get here, I'm already kind of present. A lot of people don't think about preventing unwanted emotions. They get into a situation, and I got to deal with it in the moment. Prevention is really important. Preventative and proactive is way better than reaction.
And we should add, emotional regulation is not getting rid of emotions.
No, never.
That's not the goal. The goal is not to not experience emotions.
I mean, that's not even possible.
Right.
The goal might be to shift from one emotion to another. So if I'm feeling anxious during a present, like about to go on stage, because I had this happen once where I was in a place where I was not going to be welcome.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually 1,500 police officers.
I was going to guess a rodeo, but
Yeah,
similar.
exactly.
Okay.
I've been around. For some reason, I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing, and I got on stage, and they were introducing me, and I see 1,500 guys, mostly with their guns and and then they're like, Marc is here to talk for 3 hours about emotions.
Oh, God.
If you would have just watched the room, and I was like, okay, this is not going to go well. Marc, totally different present. You got to figure this out in the moment. You got to play around. You got to, the moment I just felt terror, and then like transfer the terror into inspiration, transfer the terror into humor.
Harness this energy source.
Yeah. It was actually turned into a great talk. But that's in the moment. I'm reducing the anxiety and trying to move it to something else. But one thing that's interesting about emotion regulation is that we can intentionally initiate an emotion. So like your kids are coming home, you notice this, and you're like, I want to just like, let's do something playful. Let's just like create an emotion that's kind of very different from the one I'm seeing here right now. You can maintain an emotion. Have you ever had a good day?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, tons.
Anytime you ever had like a good day, but then there's someone who calls you or gets in your life, they're trying to like bring it down, the kind of dream stealer type. So how do you bounce back? How do you like, something like, I want to prolong this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really in a good place. I'm going to take a little bit of a longer walk. I'm going to call someone else to like tell the story to because I want to like relish it. And then we can also kind of boost or enhance emotions. So those are the goals. The strategies are what the whole book is about. And so the first strategy is shift your mindset. You can do this. You haven't learned it yet. It's possible. The second is you got to have the language. You got to know what you're feeling. So we've covered those a bit. The next one is the basics. You got to have the skills to deactivate. You just have to be able to take that breath. And I know people think breathing, it's overrated.
And I see it feels patronizing.
It does.
People are convinced like there's no way that tiny solution could solve this big problem.
Yeah.
It almost seems offensive. Like you're demoting there.
And if I say it in my office, it is offensive. Because I'm always like, I think we need to take a deep breath. Everybody's like, that's a trigger. It's like, obviously we need to take 2 deep breaths. But the truth is that when our nervous system is activated, like giving that example, imagining I'm your kid, I hate school. Like my mother in that moment is activated. She's coming, her whole life is coming through her. I'm a terrible mother. My kid is being bullied. I don't know what to do about this. And so what do? I yell, scream, go to your room. I just eliminate you.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my gosh, my job is to deactivate. I got to take a step back. I got to take a deep breath. I got to figure out a way to help my kid deactivate so that we can actually have a conversation, because it's impossible from a brain science perspective to have any communication when you're both in
You
fight
can't
mode.
talk to someone's amygdala, basically, right? And this would be a nice time to there's some physiological imperatives, right? As your cortisol goes up and your heart rate goes up, we can watch in an fMRI your shifting think. It's just
Correct.
automatic.
You go survival mode.
Yeah. And so first thing you have to acknowledge, and I resisted this when my wife was pitching it to me, because when your kids are acting insane, you want to, in that moment, teach them this lesson that would have prevented them from getting in this state or whatever it is. And my wife was just relentless about going, hey, they can't hear anything you're saying till they're back online. Like whatever impulse you have to do this in this moment is just a waste of your time, because until they're calm, no progress is going to be made. And like that was hard for me to accept, and I have, and yeah, what a difference if you just
Because you want
chill.
your need to be met in that moment.
Yes, because now I'm uncomfortable.
Listen to me.
Yeah,
And there's no listening.
yeah. I want to heal my discomfort.
Yes.
Truly.
Or what my mom did was eliminate the discomfort,
Right.
which was go to your room with your
Vanish.
father.
Yeah,
Get
I
out of my
can't
face.
handle.
Because there's too much going on in front of me, and I have no clue what to do about it. So it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
The other piece of that deactivation, though, is not just about lowering kind of the arousal. It's also about stilling the mind. I don't know about you, but, we were talking about ADD, ADHD earlier. I mean, that's a lot of people's challenge these days, but we're really trained to be distracted in our society. We're not trained to be still. I mean, how many people spend 10 minutes a day just doing a breath work or a mindfulness exercise to really just still their minds? It's very few.
Mm-hmm.
How many people spend 5 hours? How many teenagers spend 6 to 7 hours a day on their phones?
Stimuli.
95%.
Device.
I know.
Yeah.
So once we get through the deactivation and the mindfulness piece where we can actually be present, then we have to also learn the cognitive strategies. To me, these are the master strategies. It's the self-talk. It's Marc, take the high road. Marc, you got this. Marc, you know this feeling is impermanent. It's that self-talk that works for you. And you have to cultivate your own. I can't tell you what it is. You got to kind of figure out the phrases that work for you, but it really works. And especially when you do it in this third person sense. So it's like you say to you, Marc, you got this. I'm showing empathy to myself like I would to a best friend. And so by saying that, Marc, you got this, it's like literally giving advice to Marc.
Yeah.
As opposed to me in the moment who's ready to murder that person or, whatever is happening. There's a million of these techniques. My other favorite one for people who have trouble like with interactions, like relationship stuff, where someone might get aggressive or kind of be kind of unsettling, it's called spatial distancing. So this is the one I use with my dad a lot. So my dad, he would get triggered and then he'd go on and on. You think this and you think that. And then I would just make him into a movie. I literally
Put them in a box.
put him in a box, in a frame. I'm like, wow.
This is like a Nicholson character.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
B level, but nevertheless, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way I think about it is what it's doing is it allows you to observe and not absorb.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Observe instead of absorb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
great in partnerships.
Another one that I use pretty much daily is temporal distancing. So, like, I'm the scientist. I use spreadsheets. I'm a director of a center, and Horacio is an artist. We have very little in common when it comes to planning, when it comes to details.
Yeah.
And it's okay. That's why our house has great lighting. But I don't want to pay for the lighting.
Yeah.
And so, like, the joke is, like, we have to have this. And I'm like, I have to take a moment. I'm like, okay, Marc, A, can we afford it? Can we not afford it? B, like, how much does this matter to you? The house is going to look great no matter what because he's going to do a great job. I mean, is this like a massive credit card debt or is this something you can live with? And that's hard in relationships because we're so freaking controlling.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I am.
Yeah.
And I have to, like, we're in even like stupid little things. And Marc, is this, are you going to not sleep tonight because we bought this stupid little thing?
Yeah.
No, you don't give a shit. Let it go. Let it go. Walk down the other aisle. Like, wait in the car. So those cognitive strategies in those moments when you're like, that's a ripoff, which is when I can go with that direction
This is a
really
scam,
fast. Yeah. You're a sucker.
Yeah.
Like, Marc, whatever.
Does this really matter?
Does this really matter?
Yeah.
And a week from now, am I going to be still angry about this or am I going to forget about it? Most likely going to forget about it.
Deathbed check's good at this moment. Like, am I going to care on my deathbed?
I also
about
think
this?
punting it is kind of good. Like, okay, well, if I still care about this next week, maybe I can bring it up.
Then we have a conversation, but not
Exactly.
when we're in the middle of buying
Exactly. Yeah.
it. When we can return it.
Exactly.
How does co-regulation work?
That's the next key thing, which I think is so important, which is that we overdo, especially in Western society, this like self-control, self-regulation. I can do this on my own. Like, why? Why should you suffer by yourself?
Because it's strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There's a phrase that I love. It's never worry alone.
Never worry alone.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, why? I'm not weak because I worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried for a reason that's legitimate. And guess what? I could use someone sitting by my side. I could use a hug right now.
Uh-huh.
I could use someone just saying, you want to go for a walk? That's co-regulation at the highest level. It's noticing and saying, I can be supportive to help this person manage their feelings. I'm not going to fix them. I'm not going to tell them what to do, but I'm going to make some offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not coddling, which is what people sometimes think it is. It's not like, it's going to be okay. No, don't worry about it. Mommy will take care of it. Daddy will do it for you. That's not co-regulation. That's unhealthy co-regulation. Co-regulation is your kid is climbing a rock. If you're my mother, you're going to fall. That's unhealthy co-regulation. That's creating fear.
Yeah.
Healthy co-regulation is the kid is climbing the rock. The mother's a little nervous that the kid's going to fall because it's a little risky because they're tiny, but we're going to play this out. And I'm going to say, honey, that looks really steep. I believe you can do it. I just want to be super careful, so I'm going to come closer and be there for you. And that way, if anything goes wrong, which I don't think it's going to, I'm there for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One is like rescue
Yeah.
or get down. The other is, I actually believe in you. It's building the resilience in the kid, building the confidence in the kid, but providing that little bit of support. I mean, we're endlessly co-regulating. We're co-regulating right now with each other, whether we're conscious of it or not.
Right.
Right? You're saying something, I'm responding. If I don't agree with you or you don't agree with me in that moment, you get a little feeling, you're like, whatever, it's only a podcast, let it go. And, it's like we're trying to we want this to be inspiring and engaging for people. I hope that they're going to learn something from it. So we're purposely telling stories that are aligned with that. That's co-regulation in action.
Yeah, I mean, I want everyone to get out of this. Yeah, you're going to have emotions. They're going to be strong. They're going to be uncomfortable. And there's a version where you do the best with that you can.
Exactly.
That's what the goal is.
And by the way, part of the co-regulation thing that's so important is that when you try to be the fixer or the advice giver or the solver, you're not actually helping the brain develop as a parent.
Right.
So I need to be uncomfortable. I need to be put in a situation. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm going to die.
Right.
But, I can get up on the rock. I can be a little exploratory. Yeah. And I need to know that I can talk to myself in a way that says, Marc, you can do this. I need to know that I'm going to fail. I need to know that it feels shitty when you fail. I need to learn what to say to someone who treats me in an unkind way. We have to build that muscle.
Yeah.
And you don't build that muscle by learning nothing, by no one being there. And you don't build that muscle by coddling. You don't build that muscle by controlling. You build it by co-regulating and scaffolding and building it.
It's amazing how much vestigial shit we're still dealing with when early enlightened writers split the emotions and the intellect into two separate things.
Yeah.
Because the great question would be why don't we know any of this? Why has this never been taught? Why did no one take this seriously? It's because, that emotions are something to be ignored, avoided, and controlled, and intellect is something that'll bring you everything.
Yeah.
And so why would we spend 5 minutes learning this thing that we're supposed to avoid in place of more math that could take us further? And it's kind of crazy that we're, at best, we're 50-50 analytical and emotional creatures, but in reality, we're 85% emotional.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And we've just ignored it.
Emotions drive everything. They drive our attention, our learning, our decisions, our relationships, our health, our performance, our creativity. There's no correctness here. And I want to say that loudly. There is no correct strategy. This is a game we play in our lives.
But one thing you can say is if you've misidentified the emotion, you have no shot at combating that because you're chasing a different issue. So that it seems most logical to actually start with a true understanding of what you're feeling, which is way more complicated than people give it credit.
Self-awareness is a gift.
Yeah.
And most people don't have much of it. It's funny, when I was writing, I knew a lot of it, but then I had to do research for a lot of it because I'm not an expert in everything. And they were the pieces that I had to really study so that I could write about them were the pieces, of course, that I procrastinated.
Yeah.
And I would just get so overwhelmed, and I would try to like, Marc, you're a professor, work through it. And every time I tried to do that, it got worse. Every time I just shut the computer and went to work out, I came back in flow states.
Yeah.
And I remember joking with myself, you may not finish the book, but you're going to be in the best shape of your life. And then you get one outcome.
Could turn into a fitness book.
Exactly. The point I'm making is that life is a roller coaster ride of emotions. It just is. I didn't know my mother was going to die when I was 24 years old of pancreatic cancer. Didn't know that. I didn't know the same year I'd find the person who I was going to be with for my whole life. I didn't know I was going to become a professor. I didn't know I was going to run a center. I didn't know I'd be traveling. Like, all these things happen.
Yeah.
And if we just observe that and say, okay, life is a roller coaster ride of emotions, I think I'd rather have more pleasant ones than unpleasant ones.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do some self-evaluation of where I'm at in my life. And let me be a scientist about my strategies. Are they working for me or are they working against me?
Yeah.
Because, by the way, all the unhealthy ones are okay too. Drinking's fine, a little bit.
Yeah.
Eating a little bit of sugar, whatever.
Yeah.
Distraction, fine.
Yeah.
Avoidance works for me sometimes.
Yeah. Binge a TV show. It's great.
But, when I used to be a fitness instructor and I'd see people on the treadmill for 8 hours, I'm like, eesh.
Yeah.
Now you're like not dealing with the real feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So everything
Is a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. And, my hope for people is that they learn the strategies and practice those strategies and then just take some time, monthly to say, is my life working for me or against me?
Yeah.
And at some point in our lives, we can blame our childhoods and blame our parents and blame everything. Or we can wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to be my own Uncle Marvin today. I'm going to look in the mirror. I have a little less judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a little bit better listener to myself. I'm going to have some self-compassion. I'm going to be a little warmer to myself. And what the research shows is that will make a difference for you. You can cultivate Uncle Marvin-ness in yourself. And here's the more beautiful thing from my perspective. And I'll just share one last story, which is, so I'm giving a speech in a town in New York State, and I'm talking about my uncle, which I didn't normally do in my previous presentations. And this one guy looks at me and he's like, are you talking about Marvin Moore, the 6th grade social studies teacher from Monticello, New York? I said, I am. And he's like, Marc, your uncle was my Uncle Marvin.
Oh.
I said, what do you mean? He's like, he was my 6th grade teacher 50 years ago. And I will never, ever forget the twinkle in his eyes, the way he smiled, the way he taught us about emotions and history. And like the guy just kept on talking. And I said, well, I got to finish my speech, but can I interview you afterwards?
Yeah.
And he stayed, and I talked with him for about a half hour. I videotaped this interview with one of my uncle's own actual students. But I share that with you because at the end, he looked at me and he said, it's pretty darn clear the impact that your uncle has had on your life. And I said, of course. And so he said, I'm just curious, Marc. For whom were you and Uncle Marvin? And it just hit me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I like to do the research.
Yeah.
And I realized I was not showing up as that non-judgmental listener for my significant other, for a lot of other people. And I made it a goal. And I share that because what the research shows is really interesting, is that when we can show up for you as that character, as that ally, we see the benefit in the other person.
Mm-hmm.
That's the co-regulation. I can see your life is improving as a result of my co-regulation. And by me watching you have a better life, it makes my life better.
Yeah.
So it's a twofer.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it begins.
I love that. The book is called Dealing with Feeling. Use your emotions to create the life you want. Dr. Marc Brackett, this has been so fun.
Yeah,
And I
thank you.
enjoyed
This
it
has
so
been
much.
great.
I can talk about feelings forever.
Feelings are
We
important.
don't want to do that. We want to limit it.
In the right time and place.
There you go.
Be well. Good luck with everything. I hope
Thank
you have
you.
a great rest of your tour.